to hand.
How often do you run into issues with like directors where you think that a certain scene feels more one color and feels it's more?
Actually, we got a question, don't we?
The next question, I should pay you for this.
Great segue.
The next question is, how do you find or consider the director's judgment when it comes to color choices? John, you wanna go first?
Actors don't like to be given line readings from the director. Likewise, I don't like to be told what color. I encourage the director to talk feeling and atmosphere rather than particular colors with me. How does this scene feel? And that's how I work with the director. I've never had too many problems. I've been lucky. I've never had too many problems with conflicting color interests with the director. But maybe one of these guys.
I was going to say pretty much what he said, but
we did have an experience where a director really wanted an opposite color of what we wanted. And there was another scene where we wanted to do something else too in the same show. And you really have to pick your battles if it comes to that. What is the most important? Because just because you have 3 ideas and the director doesn't like those 3 ideas, pick the one. And also you have to remember, if you're doing a bigger show, more of a corporate show, or a big rock and roll star or something, the producer is going to have a lot more money than your typical college show.
Who's signing the paycheck?
It's all about who has the money, and you really have to make that person happy.
Yep.
And that tends to be more in the bigger budget shows, but also, the director, really, the artistic director, they have the say, and sometimes you as the lighting designer, they don't. But if you do really have an idea, make sure you can support your idea. Just don't say, I like this color, I want to do it, because that really doesn't hold much water. You really have to have a good reason of why you want to do it if you want to try to, trump the director.
And in the first example that Lisa just mentioned is the director, we had the scene lit in all, I think we had it lit in all blue, and the director said, no, the scene is red, almost matter-of-factly, like, why would you even bring up blue? This scene is clearly red, and he didn't really have a reason why, never gave us a reason, and we were never going to change his mind. And so that was one where we fought it a little bit, we questioned him, but we just knew that there was no changing his mind. So we said, all right, not our choice, but that's what we have to live with, we'll move on.
And to solve that problem, almost in every situation, we always have a great discussion with the director beforehand, making sure we're on the same page. This was one high school that we've worked with for several years, and you don't have a production meeting. You just go do it. You talk a little bit. You find out what he wants. But in a I don't know, more proper situation, I guess you want to call it, we do talk to the director. We ask him what he or she wants. We give them our opinions, and sometimes, in school, they talk collaboration. Collaboration does work really well if you have the time and the opportunity. But so many times the lighting designers are the last person to be brought in, and really you just have to make it work and bring your ideas into their ideas, and we haven't really had a problem.
I used to hand out a questionnaire when I was doing a dance concert to the choreographers, and it was just a little bit of information. And one of the questions was, if this dance could take place anywhere in the ideal setting, be it the world, the universe, where would it be? And it gave me an idea of kind of what their mind was thinking. I had one choreographer fill that out saying, none of your business.
Really?
And I remember looking at that going, well, I learned so much from that. He wasn't going to do my homework for me. I had to do it myself. So I had to sit down and I had to form an opinion. But I remember when I first saw that, I went, uh-oh, what am I going to do now? Because this person's not going to help me that much. So it's one of those things that you kind of have to develop it as you go, and also based on the personality of the director or choreographer.
First off, does it happen? Yes, it does. At the most extreme example, I was working at the American Dance Festival, and I was doing the faculty dance concert, which was a nightmare in and of itself because we had 29 faculty members. Each wanted to do a dance. Each wanted theirs to look different than anybody else's. and we had 4 hours to tech the entire thing. So that, of course, limits what you can do. Oh, and a third of them didn't show up for tech. So, that was a very challenging moment, and made even more so by the choreographer that walked in and said, okay, my husband's a lighting designer, and he told me that we need to have this color in backlight, and this color in side light, and this color in front light for the piece. It's like, okay, great. Did he tell you why? And that's where I always try to cut through that issue of conflict. Why? When I start with a choreographer, my question usually is, my fallback question is, where did this dance come from? And I get some interesting answers. I mean, there was one piece where I said to the choreographer, where did this piece come from? And usually you get 2 or 3 sentences. I got 20 minutes. That included his being institutionalized, multiple suicide attempts. Ultimately, it came down to the piece was about love forcibly removed. So he had fallen in love with somebody, and there were the societal and personal barriers placed in front of him. That sent him into all of these tailspins and spirals and everything else. For him, it was exercising the demons. That's where the piece came from. And that told me an awful lot. Back to this person that had the specific gel colors, when I said, where did it come from, they were able to discuss the environment, the idea, where the piece came out of, what the sense of space was supposed to be. We used one of the 3 colors recommended, but the other 2 colors were not very far away. We just, I couldn't afford to give those specific colors to that one piece. And when I did production of Macbeth just recently, we had sat and talked very deliberately about passage of time. This scene was going to be morning, this afternoon, et cetera, and about 10 minutes into cueing the piece, it all went out the window, because what suddenly became more important was the contrast between a preceding scene. It was after the witches first appeared to Macbeth and talked to him. When we came out of that cue, she suddenly wanted to be in afternoon, midday. And we had discussed this as being being just before dawn. So we're going to have a little bit of low-angle warm color coming into it. And I said, we were very specific about time of day on this when we planned this out. Why is it that you want to suddenly be in the afternoon? And she said, I don't care about time of day. I need maximum contrast between what we just had. And based on that, absolutely, that's the right answer. So I went with what that she was looking for, even though it went counter to everything that we talked about ahead of time. So the why becomes very important. And I think getting to that, you should be able to figure out a way to negotiate your perspective with their perspective. And again, yes, we all talk about collaboration in education. Sometimes collaboration happens in 30 seconds between no and what the answer is.